Top tips for working with dads. In this video, I want to talk about our work at Dad Matters, how we've developed our model that reaches dads both universally and through direct referrals from professionals. Our model draws on research, our experience as a parent-infant support service for dads, and from co-production and evaluation with the dads and professionals that we've worked with. There are some gaps, particularly for LGBT parents who don't identify with the word dad, for dads from culturally diverse communities who might not engage with the services that we reach, and for those dads who sometimes are estranged from baby's mum and don't get the antenatal experiences that couples would do together. We're working on how to develop our model to reach these dads too, and there'll be a bit more about that later. Do not be subtle. A lot of the dads we work with don't recognise subtlety, not just with referrals, but within their friendship groups and with relationships. Being direct when engaging dads can really help to establish a relationship early on, which will lead to better outcomes later. Ask direct questions. As professionals, we often want to ask open questions and develop a rapport with the service user by encouraging a relationship and openness. We found that speaking to dads initially can be more productive if we ask more direct questions. Dads tend to come to our service for a particular reason, maybe to have a question answered, for education, and sometimes because they're struggling or in crisis. By asking direct questions, we found the dads we work with are more likely to offer direct answers, which leads to those more emotional conversations later on. This is particularly true when dads feel a professional should be working more closely with mum. Be honest. Honesty with dads is essential. A lot of the dads we work with often default decision making and information gathering to their partner, and a lot of professionals will often assume that they've had the same information as mum. This isn't always the case, and we need to ensure we relay important information to dads as well. Use facts. A lot of the dads we work with really engage with short, direct facts. Things like statistics, facts about brain development, baby states, and other educational content that they can absorb, draw on, and preferably see happening in practice can really help them to engage with you when they need more support. Tangible and tactile resources help. Having resources to hand can really help you to engage with dads. And if it's developed and delivered in the right way, it can also send them away with the idea that they can reach out to you when they need to. Information before intervention. When we work with dads, we try to ensure we have some information about what is available for their particular situation. This could be a knowledge of services like men's talking groups, adult mental health services, parent-infant services, or any other local service that might help them. We make sure that we know exactly how we expect these signposted services to support the dad, and then we can also give them some more details about how to contact them and to find out more. In subsequent visits, we'll also revisit the list of signposts and encourage dads to engage, and we often offer to refer dad directly to the service. Baby states and consoling. When we deliver our antenatal sessions for dads alongside our maternity colleagues, we find dads generally really appreciate the information on baby states and even more so information on crying and consoling. These can be real worries for some dads, especially as this is their first time thinking about themselves as a dad. They sometimes think mums will be better at settling a baby because mums are naturally gifted at it, and we want them to understand that actually they just need to learn and know about the baby in the way that mums do, and to spend time getting to know the baby will help. This is sometimes a bit of a light bulb moment for a lot of the dads that we work with. You always need to be thinking about the reasons and the motivations dads have for engaging. Is it to be a better dad? Or is it to be a better partner? Or is it to be distracted from things that they're struggling with? If we can use these motivations to plan your way in to speak to the dad and plan the work from that, that can really help them to engage more with you. We use key identifiers of anxiety, particularly things like bravado and joking. A lot of men communicate in that way, and it might not seem very engaging. They use bravado, they might seem to be joking about things that might not be appropriate to joke about. In our peer support groups, we often find dads who use bravado will probably appreciate a further conversation about how they're doing and what their anxieties might be. This might be the only opportunity that they have to express how they're doing and to express that anxiety and the things they're worried about. So it's important to be curious about it. In our peer support groups, we find other dads will support those ones that are showing that bravado and displaying that anxiety by laughing in the right places, asking them direct questions about what they've said, asking them if they're going to change their mind about decisions they've made, and then joining in with their own experiences and their own feelings about it. This might feel strange to professionals that are used to scaffolding service users within a one-to-one system or within a group. But rest assured, these dads still need support, and you can absolutely support them by being curious about their bravado. It's okay to feel awkward. You will feel awkward. Professionals often ask us how they can engage with dads if they're not men. Some of the research by the Fatherhood Institute shows that while female professionals might use different tools and different skills to engage with dads, the work and interventions are just as successful. So please feel awkward for the first few minutes. You'll be fine. Always ask again. A lot of the men we work with will be surprised to be asked how they are, particularly by professionals that they expect to be working more with mum. They often feel isolated within some perinatal services and then can carry this feeling throughout those different phases of their parental journey. They might respond with a short answer, such as yeah, or I'm fine, or I suppose I'm okay, and then expect that to be the end of the conversation and for you to start to focus more on mum again. It's really, really important that you ask again. How are you doing? How are you really doing? How's things for you? What's going on in your life? What can we help you with? Is there something we should talk about? Is there anything bothering you? They may still close down the conversation because they're genuinely okay, maybe because they're caught off guard, and maybe because they would prefer you to be supporting mum. But the increased interest in them will really help them to see you as an extra viable option when they do need support. So what about those gaps? I mentioned earlier there were some gaps in the work that we do in terms of the dads that we can reach and how we're trying to fill those gaps. We work closely with other organisations within the perinatal pathway to ensure there's support available for everyone. This includes culturally diverse organisations, LGBT support and social care. We're currently recruiting a cultural liaison coordinator to help us to reach more community organisations, which will in turn help us to reach more of those dads that can be volunteers, more opportunities for engagement, more co-production and service delivery within community hubs where we might reach those dads in a better capacity. We're working closely with maternity to develop our antenatal drop-in alongside community delivered antenatal care. We aim our services at the second largest cohort of parents, and we're commissioned within the perinatal mental health pathway. We can advocate for those other cohorts of parents within the pathway, which can then lead to more support being identified and referred to by professionals. We always try to use the pronouns and terms preferred by the parent in front of us. When we're trying to reach a more generic audience, we'll use parental terms to address people such as mum, dad, co-parent and intended parent, because being a parent is often the reason they engage with us. We do use the term partner in some situations, but we always try to ensure that it's at a time when dads are thinking about themselves as a partner for mum or a support for mum. This could be during labour, engaging in perinatal or mother and baby unit services, those kind of things. Finally, we always take our service to where dads are already seen and where they're thinking about themselves as a dad. This can include antenatal scans and appointments where we see large numbers of dads, NICUs, postnatal wards, delivery suites, postnatal appointments, antenatal education, family nurse partnerships and any specialist services where mums might be engaged and dads might tag along. That's it for today. I hope these have been really helpful for you. If you want to know more, find us on social media and get in touch.